Hi, this is Boris. Welcome to Movie Messenger, and today we're going to analyze the 2030 movie Enemy, directed by Denis Villeneuve. I love this movie. I even made a fan art poster for it. Check it out and more illustrations on my Instagram at Sketchman_Boris. But shameless plugs aside, please be aware that this analysis contains spoilers, so I advise you to experience the movie for yourself before watching this video. Some general information about the movie. The film is based loosely on José Saramago's 2002 novel The Devil. The movie stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Adam the teacher and Anthony the actor, Melanie Laurent as Marie, Sarah Gordon as Helen, and Isabella Rossellini as Adam's mother. Just to be sure to avoid any confusion, I'll put the following on the bottom of the screen. Adam is the teacher and Anthony is the actor. So let's go through the story and try to analyze it. The movie starts with a voiceover of the mother played by Isabella Rossellini sharing her worries about Adam's condition and his new apartment. We see a shot of Helen, Anthony's pregnant wife, naked on the bed. We cut to Jake Gyllenhaal, another man's entering a secret sex show, which ends with a woman about to crush a spider with her heels. Then we see Adam Bell's repetitive life, alternating between having sex with Melanie Laurent's character Mary and his work as history teacher, where he gives the same lessons about dictatorship. At one point, a colleague at school recommends to rent a movie. After viewing the movie, he discovers an actor who looks just like him, named Anthony St. Clair. He goes through some boxes and takes out a photo torn in half. Of him, it's a picture of himself. Adam becomes obsessed with Anthony and tries to meet with him. Ellen suspects that he is cheating on her, revealing that this had already happened before. After a few attempts, Anthony accepts to meet with him over a phone call. After the meeting, Adam gets frightened and flees from the hotel and gives the envelope he collected when he impersonated Anthony at his talent agency. Following this encounter, Anthony finds out where Adam lives and discovers his girlfriend, the beautiful Marie. Anthony decides to trick Adam to change places with him so that he can have sex with Mary. Confused and frustrated, Adam goes to Anthony's house, and to his surprise, the concierge of the building lets him in the house and happens to be the man Anthony brought to the sex show in the beginning of the movie. The man asks when he could take him back to the sex show, as he can't wait to do it again. Adam puts Anthony's clothes on and sees on the shelf the same photo he had but intact. On the right side, it was Ellen in the picture. The only person who seems to know the most about what is actually going on seems to be Ellen, the pregnant wife, who comes home and cuddles with Adam in bed and lets him know that she knows he's not Anthony. In contrast, while this peaceful scene is going on in Anthony's house, Anthony himself is having sex with Mary, and she is shocked to discover the ring mark on his finger and says she wants to leave. So Anthony, disappointed and angry, decides to drop her off. Later that night, we see in parallel the scene where Adam is crying and is consoled by Ellen as they start making love, and the brutal quarrel between Anthony and Mary in the car. The quarrel turns for the worst and they crash. As the camera pans in close to the broken window, we see the cracks appear in the same shape as a spiderweb. The next day, Adam stays in Anthony's apartment, puts on Anthony's clothes, as Ellen, who got out of the shower, tells him that his mother called, connecting back to the beginning of the film, where you hear his mother's message on the answering machine. He discovers the envelope he gave to Anthony earlier in the film and opens it, revealing the key, which is sent to people to join the secret sex club. He thinks for a moment and says to Ellen he might go out, but she doesn't respond. And when he goes to talk to her in the bedroom, he is shocked to see a giant-sized tarantula who is frightened by him. Adam looks at it and sighs. End of movie. A lot of the movies I analyze are usually based on more or less loosely on books. So I ask myself, do people have to read the books before watching the movie? In my opinion, no, because otherwise most people won't go see movies if they have to read the source material. The adaptation is its own thing and doesn't affect the quality of the source material. Of course, you can read the book to get a new story or another version of the story. When I analyze and try to articulate an interpretation, I'm looking at the information the movie is giving me. This doesn't include the deleted scenes. Also, I put everything I can think of on a paper before reading other views on the movie. Interesting information, there is a lot of spider-related imagery in this movie, including the spider that is walking through the city is a reference to Louis Bourgeois' sculpture, which is called Maman, meaning mom or mum, depending on where you're from. In my opinion, people shouldn't dictate to others which interpretations are right and which ones aren't. But in this case, if you're thinking there is really a doppelganger, a double, you will miss what the film is trying to convey. Also because nobody sees them together in public. The title. The title enemy for me means in most cases we are our own enemy. The greatest struggles are in our heads. Even if you are trying to lose weight, for example, you have to will yourself to stop eating that unhealthy food that your current self is obsessed over. Chaos is order yet undeciphered. The quote which precedes the film's opening, "Chaos is order yet undeciphered," is taken from the source novel The Double by José Saramago. Chaos can be the split personality the main character is going through, or to a larger extent the cognitive dissonance we all have in our lives. But ultimately we are responsible to decipher this chaos. Of course, you can get help, but the actual effort comes from you. Let's say like this, you can get the instruction manual from people, but you have to assemble the furniture yourself. But actually it's not, I don't think it's a split personality. It's just, actually it's a metaphor for men who are living a life, and I say this men because the main protagonist is a man, and the desires that they have for a different life, which can be really selfish, but it's truth, like it exists. And I think everybody has that, and everybody has to live with that. If there was a list of underrated actors in Hollywood, Jake Gyllenhaal's name would be in it. Is there something that people outside of Hollywood doesn't know? He doesn't get the credit he deserves, I don't know. One of his performances, which still haunts me, is from a movie called Nocturnal Animals. I was going to do the analysis of that movie next, so I don't want to. So maybe I don't want to spoil it. But there was a scene which was so visceral, it made my heart ache. For people who have seen the movie, I think you know which one I'm talking about. The point being, he's a great actor, and I wish he did more films. So the repetitive nature is shown in the lessons he teaches. So on this viewing, I noticed that when he's teaching a class about dictatorship, we see a student here. And then the second time he's teaching the class, you think it's the same class, but the same student is wearing the same clothes and is sitting there. I don't think this is a mistake. This is to show that he does the same thing, making the same mistakes. And just like the film, he does the same things over and over again. And of course, Adam seems to be wearing the same clothes, not to mention Melanie, Laurent's character. Mary has the same black dress throughout the movie. So, what is this movie trying to tell us? As I mentioned earlier, the double doesn't exist. In addition, his mother tells him that he's her only son, and there is no discernible reason for her to lie. This is one of the visually stylish films I've seen, and it does contain a message which can seem cheesy. If this message was explicitly stated, it would kill the charm of the film. Where there is will, there is a way, which is the title of the first movie he sees himself in, supposedly something Denis Villeneuve's English teacher told him. As cheesy as it is, I believe he took it and showed an evidence how will can help solve your deepest problems. So what is the problem here? The movie is about a married man who's struggling with his sexual urges. I often ask my friends if their life changed after marriage. For those who marry the women they love, no. This movie portrays the split that can happen when a man gets married, and especially when the responsibility of a child is imminent. It is a big change. On one side, you're a man with his dreams, ambitions, desires, and on the other person who has made the commitment to build a family, share his life with a partner, and raise children. As a man, I understand it to be a valuable message to young men in this case because the main character is a man. to build meaningful relationships instead of letting your desires dictate what you do and entertain yourselves with sexual activities that lead nowhere. But also, again, to come back to the title, you are your own enemy, and like the character Adam says, it's a pattern. It means it repeats itself. So just like the movie, it repeats itself. So, just like he sort of went on having this affair with Melanie Laurent's character, and then it came back to Helen. At the end, when he discovers that key, the movie starts all over again. And she, even in that little quarrel when Helen and Anthony have, she said, you're seeing her, aren't you? So it means that it's not the first time that he does it. So, and I think he will be doing this constantly, repeating the pattern. The ending. The imagery of the spider apparently was added to the film. They are not in the novel. In the end, the moment he relapses and decides to go back to the sex club is when he sees his wife not as a woman, not as a person, but as a giant tarantula which spins web in which he will be caught if this pattern goes on repeatedly. She isn't actually a spider, she is perceived as a spider because he is going back to the other side of his psyche. In my opinion, he sighs at the end because he somewhat becomes aware of the fact he himself is in a dictatorial regime in his head, which repeats itself thinking about the quote from Hegel and Karl Marx he taught his students. Hegel said, "All great world historical facts and personages occur twice," and Karl Marx added, "the first time as tragedy, the second as farce." So remember I talked about Eyes Wide Shut? Here there is a similar beat in the story, even if there are different stories, different movies with different endings. When Adam comes back home and cries, he's changing and realizes his mistakes, which is the same thing that happens when Tom Cruise's character breaks down and confesses to his wife, played by Nicole Kidman. You are responsible for taking the necessary steps to work through the cognitive dissonances by the power of will. Now, if you want to talk about free will, that's a whole other discussion. Hey everyone, thank you for listening. Like I said, I love this movie, and if you want to hear more analysis, more podcasts, please check out also my SoundCloud channel where I post my philosophical ideas, where I work through different concepts, and I also do more analysis there about movies and other pop culture items like books or series, and I also have a lot of things planned for anime, so I hope I'll have time to develop those. So thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and consider supporting me on Patreon, and like I said, until next time, this is Boris, Movie Messenger, signing off.